Hello, my name is Tammy Medlin, and I am the local history librarian here at the Wilson County Public Library. Thank you for joining us for Wilson's African American Volunteer Firefighters, 1893 to 1965. Today we're going to take a look back at the Red Hot Hose Company and the beginning of the East Nash Volunteer Fire Department. In 1890, what became known as the North Carolina Colored Volunteer Firemen's Association was formed in Greensboro. This is part of a poster advertising that event that is in the Statesville Historical Collection. The organization was formed by departments from Greensboro, Raleigh, Durham, Wilmington, Monroe, and Charlotte. Wilson would soon join them. On September 14, 1893, the following announcement appeared in the Wilson Advance. A colored fire company. At the last meeting of the town commissioners, Edmund Poole, in behalf of the colored citizens of the town, presented a petition requesting the commissioners to authorize the organization of a colored fire company with headquarters over the railroad. The Advance was pleased to see this move was made. It will be remembered that we suggested such a plan some time ago and named Edmund Poole as a man well qualified to act as chief. We understand the petition was granted and that a reel and outfit has been ordered. Edmund Poole was a teamster, which means he drove a wagon to deliver freight. In 1887, he had been praised for his role in fighting a fire at the Exchange Hotel. According to the Advance, a number of our colored people worked manfully to save the building and deserve the thanks of our whole community. Ed Poole, a colored man, showed the pluck and grit and the daring of which true heroism is built, and he will be kindly remembered by our people as long as gratitude has its throne in their hearts. He did faithful work that night, and he has made a name of which anyone might justly feel proud. The earliest mention I found of the name Red Hot was in July 1896, when the Wilson Times announced that year's convention/tournament would be held here. Now you may be asking, how did men fight fires before fire engines and hydrants? They might have a fire wagon such as the one pictured above from Warrenton. It carried buckets, ladders, and hooks. Large metal hooks attached to chains would be used to demolish walls to stop a fire from spreading from one building to another. The hook would be thrown and catch on the edge of a wood roof or window. Men would then grab the chain to pull the wall down. If a horse was available, the chain would be attached to the back of the wagon. This is where the term hook and ladder came from. By the time the Red Hots were formed, hydrants were available, so the firemen used a reel like the two seen above. The reel, with the hose wrapped around it, would be pulled to the fire, one end attached to the hydrant and a nozzle to the other end. Then water was released. If the company did not have a horse, the firemen pulled the reel themselves. Speed was of the essence, so the men often practiced. Hose reel races were a draw at the annual conventions. The one on the left can be found at the Raleigh Fire Museum. For your information, the Red Hots had to pull theirs by hand. They did not have a fire wagon and they did not get a horse until 1921. So they pulled the reel by hand for over 25 years. This photo is from a reel race in New Bern in 1910 and is included only to show how large and heavy these reels could be. Some of them were actually taller than the men pulling them. The way the races worked is the starting gun would go off and the men would pull the reel to the hydrant. The back end of the hose would be connected to the hydrant and a nozzle would be attached to the front end, and then a stream of water would be shot forth. If the hose came disconnected from the hydrant or the nozzle came off the front end, the team was disqualified. This silver belt was owned by the North Carolina Colored Volunteer Firemen's Association and was awarded to the winner of the hose reel race each year. It was beginning in 1897. The Red Hots won this belt many times. Dress uniforms would be worn during parades, at conventions, and other important events. Wilson hosted the convention/tournament for the first time in 1896, and the men would have wanted to look their best. Here's a description of the company's original dress uniforms. Their uniform consisted of red shirts with white trimmings, blue caps, and black trousers. Sounds simple enough. Their captain, Edwin Poole, and I'm sorry they misspelled his name, his shirt having a shield of black velvet and large sailor collar of the same material, trimmed with a fringe of silver, while his cap, somewhat different in shape from those of the rank and file, was decorated with a heavy silver cord and tassel. This is a photo of Benjamin Minsky, the second chief or foreman of the Red Hots, a post he held for many years. According to the Wilson Times, Minsky had a fire alarm hooked up to his house and connected to the main station. When it rang, he was off and pedaling his bicycle to the blaze. It has been said that Minsky was the fastest bicycler in the city. During his service, Minsky fought nearly every major fire, and the Red Hots won the hose reel silver belt many times. When he died, a fire truck carried him to the cemetery, and a fire hydrant was placed on his grave. Hackney Brothers, who made buggies and also did auto bodies and worked on cars, was a major employer in Wilson and had a large complex. They suffered 2 fires within 2 months. On the first fire, on December 24, 1921, Hackney suffered over $400,000 in damages. That's over $6 million in today's money. It is said the whole town turned out, and the fire department even had to ask Rocky Mount for help. As Minsky attended most major fires, he was probably at this one. Hackney suffered a second fire on February 23, 1922. A workman was cleaning chassis with a mixture of water and gasoline. Some got on the floor, and a nearby light bulb broke. Flames began to spread. 4 workers were hurt. In 1938, the city of Wilson decided to stop relying so much on volunteers. On July 14, 1938, the following announcement appeared in the Wilson Times. Colored firemen to retain their organization. On August 1st, the local fire department goes on a semi-paid basis, and Chief Lancaster said that while the Red Hots were being retired from active service, they would be called upon in emergencies and would hold their organization together and send representatives to the state convention and tournament. The day before, the paper had announced the Red Hots were being disbanded. The paper quickly printed a correction. This announcement was made less than a month before the North Carolina Colored Volunteer Firefighters Association was to hold its convention in Wilson. On August 8, 1951, there was a major blaze at the Century Brick Warehouse No. 1. It destroyed the auction house, damaged another warehouse, and 5 other businesses. There was over $1 million in losses. That's over $11 million in today's money. Departments from Rocky Mount and Goldsboro were called in to assist, along with the Red Hots, 13 years after they were removed from active service. On July 12, 1962, in Greenville, the Red Hots won the Silver Championship belt for the last time. It would not be awarded again. Captain George Coppage is wearing the silver belt as he is hoisted on the shoulders of his team. These photos are part of East Carolina's digital collections. Even before the Red Hots won the belt for the last time, growing pains had already proved volunteer firefighters had a place in Wilson. The following story appeared in the Wilson Times on February 7, 1961. 2 houses destroyed by fire. Local firemen unable to help. 2 houses belonging to Mamie Roundtree on Carolina Street Extension were destroyed by fire Monday afternoon. Flames raged uncontrolled for more than 1 hour before firemen arrived. Volunteer firemen from Elm City and Black Creek succeeded in pulling out the fire and eliminating danger to adjoining houses. The Wilson Fire Department could not respond to the call for assistance because the houses were outside the city limits. Now, there had been a group of men who had already seen the need for fire protection in the area, that is, the area east of 301 that was really growing. They are Frank W. Barnes, David Suggs, Clarence Hoskins, who had also lost his home to fire, J. E. Williams, Henry Higgins, and L. H. Cooley. They began to meet in the back room of Barnes's sanitary barber shop. They invited people who owned property in the area to attend meetings later held at Brown's Chapel Church and Roundtree Church. They decided to organize a volunteer fire department and were granted a charter by the state in 1964. This was the beginning of the East Nash Volunteer Fire Department. The group purchased 2 second-hand trucks, a flatbed and an oil truck, for a total of $975. The trucks were then sent to O.W. Williams in Rocky Mount to be converted into fire engines. Changes included red paint jobs, sirens, storage for ladders and pumps, along with other safety changes. The conversions cost $4,992.45, so the total cost for 2 trucks was $5,967.45. This is a picture of Chief Clarence Hoskins with one of the new trucks. This is a map that appeared in the Wilson Daily Times that shows where the new East Nash Fire District would be located. With the bills piling up, the volunteers built the fire station themselves. According to the Wilson Times, the building measured 30 by 54 feet and cost $2,276 as the labor was donated. The county commissioners gave $100 a month and added the new station to the rural fire system. The members continued to hold fundraisers to pay down the debt, but the East Nash Volunteer Fire Department opened in 1965. Listed on the charter as the board of directors were Frank Barnes, Clarence Hoskins, Eugene Hoskins, David Suggs, Paul Pender, and John Mincy, son of Red Hot's chief Benjamin Minsky. His brother, Ben Jr., also served in the department along with other members of the Red Hots. Mr. Minsky would have been proud. This is a photo of the current headquarters of the East Nash Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you for joining us for Wilson's African American Volunteer Firefighters, 1893 to 1965. If you want further information on the Red Hots or East Nash Volunteer Fire Department, visit Lisa Henderson's blog, Black, White, Awake, address posted here on the screen. If you are curious about the history of African American firefighters in North Carolina, see Mike Legaros's blog, Early Black Firefighters in North Carolina, annotated. The address is also posted here. Have a good night.